Good morning, everybody. Nice to see a bunch of people here. I was scared of not having audience today. I said, oh, we traveled for so long in order to get here. And oh gosh, I'm gonna talk for the four in the table. But thank you all for being here. My name is María José Lopez. I'm a Public Relations, Communications, and International Cooperation Manager at RedCLARA, which is the Latin American Advanced Network. We connect all the NRENs of Latin America and hopefully of the Caribbean during the next years as well. I'm part of the Americas team, which is made of CANARIE, Internet 2, and RedCLARA, or what we like to call it, the Amigas Project. We are friends here, and Amigas is the female version of friends, but we have males too. We then, in this Amigas bunch project, we realized that all our institutions have been working on connecting those underserved and underconnected regions in the world, in our environments. So we said, why don't we work on this? Why don't we talk about this in a very consistent way in order to foster the connectivity of those regions, or I'm saying region because I'm going to talk about the Patagonian region. So, then we have today representatives of CANARIE, Mark, of Internet 2, Lanika, of RNP, which is the Brazilian NREN, Oswaldo, and we are going to talk about connectivity from Nunavut in Canada to the Patagonia in Chile and Argentina as well. So I'm here to represent Paola Arellano, which is the executive director of REUNA, the Chilean NREN, which was my very first home in this advanced networks environment 24 years ago. I've been growing old in this environment. So, well, I'm going to talk about Patagonia on behalf of Paola, and this is REUNA's presentation and Paola's presentation, so I hope to do it fine. Okay, so Chile, of course, I will say it is a wonderful country, it's my country. But it has poses us enormous challenges, not only because we have the deserts in the north and the ice in the south, but in Patagonian region, the very south, there is just 2% of the population of the entire country, which is mostly nothing. But the southern pole, it is a very strategic point for science and technology for the entire humanity. So, and we need to have them connected. So the southern macrozone, which is made of the Patagonian region, that is, goes from the Magellan region to the South Pole, it is a very vast geographical zone. It has a great scientific potential, which is, of course, internationally recognized. But despite all the what we think or what we envision about the Antarctic region, it is one of the few regions of the world that doesn't have connection. I mean, they have kind of satellite connection, but doesn't work that much. So it lacked of connection until now, and it lacked of a digital infrastructure dedicated to support scientific development and, of course, knowledge generation. In 2021, in November, while the pandemic was still doing its things in Chile, ANID, which is the national governmental institution for scientific development, and REUNA, the Chilean NREN, signed an MOU to connect the Patagonian region. So this was founded in 3 pillars, which are written, but I have to say this, built the digital bridge that unites research and education institutions of the Southern Macrozone, strengthen the national research and education system, and join efforts to provide viability and sustainability. The needs of connectivity in the Southern Macropole Macrozone is not only for Chilean researchers, it is worldwide. I mean, the city of Punta Arenas, which is the southernmost city that we have in Chile, it is the last point where scientists and researchers go before going to the pole. And they do their researches there, but they lack of good connectivity. So what inspires REUNA and the Chilean government and the Magellan region government in order to foster this Patagonia project? Equity, opportunities, and collaboration. The most important thing here, it is to have science, technology, knowledge, and innovation national policy. So strengthening science, technology, knowledge, and innovation ecosystem, enabling infrastructures, which is, it has a sub-axis, which is infrastructure and equipment that goes in a parallel line, because this is focus in doing science, creating science, and fostering science. So REUNA, as I told you, was my first home in this digital ecosystem environment 24 years ago. Is the institution that has been promoting this initiative together with ANID, the Chilean National Research and Development Agency. REUNA has 49 institutions. REUNA connects not only universities, but also observatories. Most of the North American states observatories are located in the Chilean desert, and also the European astronomy observatories are there, so they are part of the system. And it has connected all the country during the last 30 years. REUNA has 32 years old, but we lacked of connectivity in the south. So the project seeks to connect the Southern Macrozone nationally and internationally through RedCLARA. REUNA was one of the first founders of RedCLARA, and it was the one of the first institutions of being connected. The cost of the project, it is of about $1 million, and the progress is the following. In August 10, 2022, the Coyhaique node start operating. This is the most southern node in the world. It has a connection through optic fiber, satellite, and wireless, because it's very tricky to connect the region, of course. And in November 2023, the regional government and REUNA signed an alliance for the installation and operation of the Magellan and Chilean Antarctic node, which started working with and connecting those institutions. So it is only for science, technology, knowledge, and innovation communities. So the Antarctica cable must go from Puerto Williams to the pole, to the Antarctica. This is the next step. They are starting working on this, and more than 20 countries are will use this facility once we have the connection made. So, of course, it's so world pole for science. So I'm not going to read that. I need to carry out. So REUNA needs to collaborate in those areas. Repository for scientific data, Building Science, Technology and Innovation Hub, the digital port, and National Space System. The Chilean Air Force is very interested, of course, in this connectivity because of strategic reasons. What for? Of course, for articulating efforts to respond local and global challenges, to facilitate access, for instance, for HPC supercomputing, which is SCALAC there, and to connect the observatories and other facilities, to promote the use of the satellites and the development of shared critical data to predict weather, climate, and so on. Provide enable conditions for Chileans to contribute to create knowledge. And well, these are the institutions, is the government, universities, and REUNA that are collaborating, and the Magellan region government that are collaborating in the Patagonia. And the last slide, more than 10 research and education institutions in the southern macrozone will be able to connect to this node. The southernmost, I said, node for global research and education networks. This will add 1,300 kilometers to the network that REUNA has in Chile, and more than 450,000 users will connect to the national level. Thank you very much. Now we go with my friend Mark Wolff from CANARIE, who will present the LEO satellites and Nunavut. I will go to your presentation. There we are. And here. There you go.
Thank you. Good morning. So, quick introduction of CANARIE. Canada's National Research and Education Network involves 13 regional networks and CANARIE. CANARIE connects those regions together and does international connectivity, and the regional networks connect institutions and research labs and instruments and other entities to one another in the region and to CANARIE. So this is a pictorial view of Canada and the various regions. Today I'm going to be talking about this region here, which is Nunavut. So CANARIE is 36 years old this year. Nunavut joined the education network in 2020. There's a number of reasons why it took until 2020. One of the biggest ones is that in the north of Canada, quite a bit of the connectivity is provided by government. So education institutions rely on a government network, and so that's sometimes not completely compatible with a research and education network focus, but the work of the college up there, Nunavut Arctic College, is what has made the biggest difference, and so we welcome them in 2020. I will say that I'm privileged, I guess, to speak on behalf of the work that Nunavut Arctic College has done. So this is a CANARIE perspective, and most of this effort has been borne by Nunavut Arctic College, so congratulations to them. So the challenge is that it's a very big area with many communities. And so the college has locations in all 25 communities. Some of them are very small, but it's a very important part of the fabric, educational fabric of Nunavut. And so in order for the regional network to be established, they have to take into account reaching all the communities, being able to help others outside of Nunavut Arctic College, so allow others to connect to the network, and in general help research and education within the territory. So how unique when I say unique? So it would be the 14th largest country if it was on its own. So just that territory. It's a massive place. 80% of the population is Inuit. And again, this network is primarily for their use. They are very interested in research and education and of maintaining their culture, preserving their culture. To give you an idea of how far away some of these locations are, the 2,100 miles it takes for me to travel from Ottawa to the northernmost place gives you an idea of the span. So as well, this is a very harsh environment and is under full sunlight in the summer and full darkness in the winter, and extremely harsh low temperatures. So another driver for this has been the emergence of low Earth orbit satellites. So on the right, both of these are pictures of what's called the constellations. These are the satellites as they move in the sky. On the right is OneWeb, and OneWeb uses what's called a polar orbit for the constellations, meaning that everything moves over the poles. And so this is very conducive to providing services to the north. Contrast this with Starlink, which did not provide polar services until recently. You can see, though, that they do have some satellites in that area. They don't need as many satellites because there isn't as big a population density. But low Earth orbits, satellites or LEOs, was a big driver in being able to realize this connectivity. The innovation by Nunavut Arctic College it goes beyond the technology. And one of the most clever things that they did was they found a solution provider that could provide multiple types of satellites. So they didn't go into partnership with one of the major providers, they used an intermediary. And so the benefit of this is that that service provider provides access to all three types of satellites. So the geostationary, which has been the traditional connectivity method in the north, OneWeb, and Starlink. The advantages of this are quite a few. First off, that they have resilient capabilities. So if there is an issue with one of their providers, they have a backup. And even though the reliability of the LEO has been quite good, it's still, like any communication system, can have downtimes. But another advantage, and maybe even more important, is their ability to match data with the service. And this is an issue because even though LEO seems, well, it is relatively less expensive than the traditional geostationary, and that geostationary pricing has gone down in the face of LEO, it is still not inexpensive, especially if you're looking at 25 communities and a population that wants to make use of video and modern connection capabilities. And so what they're able to do is, with this, they can match data with the service. They can match the service provider with the service. And that's work ongoing for them. I know that they're experimenting with this all the time. And then finally, this service provider does provide a bunch of services that aren't provided traditionally by Starlink or OneWeb, and that is things like security services. So they have a managed firewall, for example, and other services that they can get, which leverages their existing IT staff. They've expanded their security and IT, but that's a real nice partnership. So it's a win-win for the college and in fact the communities and the solution provider. The colleges are sometimes the only or one of the few buildings, major buildings in some of these communities. And so it's a stationary point that the downlink antennas can be placed at. And so the benefit for the college obviously is they get the service. They also have no last mile connectivity because it's on the top of their building, the receiver. But the solution provider also can provide services to commercial services to others in the community, government and others. And without this anchor tenant, I guess, the service provider wouldn't be able to economically get to some of these sites. So it was very clever work by Nunavut Arctic College. So finally, the CANARIE piece. So this is a photo of the Canadian Research and Education Network leaders. We were in Iqaluit, which is the capital, in August of 2023. So you can see that we're warmly dressed. This is August. It wasn't quite as cold as it may look, but we were planning to go out on the water for a trip, and so we made sure that we were warmly dressed. As far as the meeting goes, it was amazing in that we were able to have 3 days of meetings. They were all done on video. We used Zoom. There was no interruptions to the video. There was no delay to the video. We were able to all browse and do what you would do in any other location. So this is just a tremendous step forward for this. In terms of CANARIE connectivity, we were able to connect to this service provider in southern Canada and route traffic onto the network as soon as possible, so there's delay benefits. So in closing, we're very proud of the work done by Nunavut Arctic College. They still have quite a bit of work to do in terms of connecting all 25 institutions, but it's very promising what Leo has provided. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. But we have talked about infrastructure, connectivity, but what is the most important thing is to who we connect, for whom do we do this? It's about the people network, the network of human beings. So I would like to invite Lanika Starks from Internet 2. She will talk about this connectivity of people.
That's okay.
I'm a mess. I forgot to do this. I'm so sorry. This is yours, no? Yeah. There you go.
Thank you, thank you. Hello, everyone. I am Lanika Starks, and I'm the Senior Director for Program Operations at Internet 2, working primarily with the Minority Serving Cyber Infrastructure Consortium. Today, I'm going to give you slightly different insights about connecting the unconnected. Specifically barriers that historically under-resourced and historically underfunded institutions in the United States face, not only connecting to the internet, but also to communities, funding, and resources, and how there are current efforts in place to help and advocate for minimizing these barriers. Today, I will specifically be focusing on HBCUs and TCUs. So just so you all are aware, when I say HBCU, I'm referring to historically Black colleges and universities. And when I say TCU, I'm referring to tribal colleges and universities. So first, a little context. HBCUs were established in the mid-1800s to provide post-secondary education opportunities to Black students who would not have been permitted to attend already existing colleges and universities. The historic designation is based on the Higher Education Act of 1965, which defines HBCUs as institutions established before 1965 with the primary mission of educating Black students. HBCUs embrace diversity, serving all students no matter their background, offering nearly twice as much college access to low-income students than other colleges and universities. Tribal colleges and universities were established in response to the higher education needs for American Indian students and to serve locations and populations that had no other way to access education beyond high school. TCUs continue to support the students in their communities, providing high-quality education, training, and career opportunities to those who may not have otherwise had access. Similar to HBCUs, TCUs are strongly committed to access and aim to keep tuition affordable to better their communities. Both HBCUs and TCUs have lowered barriers to higher education for their communities, but have historically been under-resourced and are often located in remote locations, resulting in various institutional challenges, including accessing the internet and other digital resources and support. The report you see pictured here is the Missing Millions report, which concludes that more must be done to remove barriers that limit access to technology for underrepresented communities, which would specifically include the communities of HBCUs and TCUs. Some points of this report include the evaluation criteria for grant programs that do not consider the resource constraints of many HBCUs and TCUs, the need for additional support in deploying and using technology tools and implementations, and assumptions that campuses have the resources to identify research and education drivers that require the use of computational and other resources provided by community initiatives. The historical underfunding of HBCUs and TCUs has contributed greatly to these barriers and challenges, and all of these must be addressed in order to increase the number of graduates from these great institutions with the skills and experience to become key contributors to the greater research and education community. Despite the challenges that these institutions face, they are achieving so much, including world-class research and education programs. Here you will see some headlines about the great things some HBCUs and TCUs are doing. Additionally, according to the National Science Foundation, nearly 18% of STEM bachelor's degrees to Black students are awarded from HBCUs, and 1/3 of all Black doctorate degree holders earn their bachelor's degree from an HBCU. TCUs are creating and employing positive role models in their community. Their diverse faculty are 46% American Indian and Alaska Native, and 71% of TCU administrators are American Indian, according to the American Indian Higher Education Consortium. Additionally, 74% of TCU graduates report giving back to their communities as they are primarily employed in areas that are related directly to their tribal needs. With all of these great successes, just imagine how much more could be possible with additional opportunities for these institutions. But how do we get there? So I want to start by saying there's no one-size-fits-all approach. All institutions are different, and so are their challenges. However, I'm going to go through a few efforts that are currently active to help address some of these barriers. So the first is the one I'm most familiar with, the Minority Serving Cyber Infrastructure Consortium, which is an effort I'm currently working with. The MSCC is a partnership led by HBCUs and TCUs in which Internet2 is supporting the outreach and awareness of technology for research and education at these institutions. Through its programming, MSCC creates a space for HBCUs and TCUs to address their common challenges, discuss solutions, and also discuss their successes. And learn how their colleagues are approaching different challenges. Additionally, the MSCC is facilitating connections among HBCUs and TCUs in the greater research and education community, including coming to events like this one today. MSCC is also providing internships and other programs for students from HBCUs and TCUs to learn more about research and technology. The MSCC is funded through the 2 NSF awards that you see at the bottom of this slide. A few additional examples of efforts to lower barriers for HBCUs and TCUs include the National Science Foundation grant programs, specifically the Tribal Colleges and Universities program, the HBCU undergraduate program, and the HBCU Research Infrastructure for Science and Engineering, or HBCU RISE program. The National Telecommunications and Information Administration also has some grant programs for these institutions, including the Connecting Minority Communities Grant Program and the Tribal Connectivity Program. The White House Initiative on HBCUs has allocated significant funding for HBCU infrastructure and resources, and has a large annual conference focused on addressing the needs of HBCUs. And last but not least, the American Indian Higher Education Consortium focuses all its efforts on tribal colleges and universities, but they also have a cyber infrastructure program right now where they're helping to advance research technology for these institutions. So you may be asking yourself, what does this have to do with connecting the unconnected? Well, again, there's no one-size-fits-all approach or solution. Therefore, connecting HBCUs and TCUs is not just related to the internet, but also connections to communities and resources that can help lower barriers these institutions face when trying to scale research, education, and technology on their campuses. So please join us in advocating and supporting the removal of these barriers for historically under-resourced and underrepresented institutions. Here are some QR codes to some MSCC events that we welcome you to participate in. So hope you too can help connect the unconnected. Thank you.
Thank you, Lanika. That's a beautiful work that you do. Very nice. I'm quite impressed. And I would like to invite my colleague Oswaldo Alves. He works in RNP, which is the Brazilian academic network, and he will talk about the connectivity in the most important lung of our continent. I mean, the Amazonian, of course.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you, Anne, for the support. Good morning, everyone. I will talk about how RNP and Brazilian government are connecting unconnected in Brazilian Amazon region. First, about RNP. RNP is a Brazilian RAN, the Brazilian Academic Network, a non-profit private association that connects them 1,800 university labs and research hospitals, more than 4 million students, 180,000 researchers are using our network, and more than 4,000 postgraduate programs. Our backbone has more than 15,000 kilometers of fiber illuminated with our own DWDM system. And until 2026, we will have more 20,000. This picture shows the RNP backbone. In blue, hashed where DWDM system with that can enable up to 4 terabits per second. About the Brazilian Amazon region, almost 6% of Brazilian territory and 28 million of Brazilians live there. It represents 13% of the population. The size is almost half of Europe, and the most of people live near the rivers. It's a low demographic density and the lowest rate of digital inclusion in Brazil. It's a big challenge for us because there are a few roads and a few power transmission lines. And the only way to arrive in each city or each small population is through the rivers. About the program was created by Ministry of Communication with the mission to expand communication infrastructure in the Amazon region, and RNP launched the pilot project in the Amazon River. Almost 800 kilometers connecting 5 cities. In this pilot was created the neutral operation model for the operation and maintenance the infrastructure. The program has a budget of almost $350 million and can benefit 10 million in 77 cities. The target is launch 12,000 kilometers fiber cable through the rivers. It's sustainable because it can preserve about 68 million of trees, because it's not necessary to build roads. The roads there are the rivers. It's the total, there are 3,800 kilometers already operational, and until 2026, more 8,200 kilometers. In the table are more details about the project. Oh, I don't change this slide. Okay, sorry. In this table here, you can see more details about the project. Okay, the next one. These photos show how cables are launched. This is a Brazilian company that launched this cable. In a picture, there are many guys there working. Okay. The project includes the sub-river cables, the same for the sea, double armor cable, and contain 48 optical fibers. In the picture, you can see the bitumen roll, the structure to interconnection sub-river cable, and the terrestrial cable, the container data center for the telecommunication system, and the WDM system, all from Brazilian companies except the cables. To be sustainable, is necessary to guarantee OEM. This is the reason that we create a model to guarantee that. The network operation model is an innovative model for open consortium with service providers and telecommunication operators. Each of 12 companies for a consortium qualified by RMP bidding receives one fiber pair for 20 years, and one of DWDM channel for the first 3 years. In return, the consortium operates and maintains the infrastructure. But the commercial exploration is individual. They compete each other in the cities in the region. In the next week, begins the new phase, the Infovia 03, with more than 450 kilometers of fiber between two capitals, Macapá and Belém, that will finish in April in 2024. But the fibers is not the only solution that we are using to connect there. There are other ways, like radio links, small and medium ISPs, satellites geostationary, and no geostationary as a constellation. This picture shows Abaré Boat. Is a hospital medical school that navigates in the region with teachers and medicine students and provides services to the Riverside population. And below, a school, Riverside, also connected with Starlink antenna. And to finish here, here are a QR code of a documentary in YouTube that RMP did to show the project. It has 38 minutes. The audio, sorry, but it's in Portuguese, but there are subtitles in English and Spanish. I recommend all of you watch. There are great images for the real forest, Amazon forest. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yes. I'm sorry. I almost left you all deaf. So sorry. This mean Chilean woman. Horrible. I super recommend you all to watch that video of the project in the Amazonian region of RNP. It's a beautiful work, and it really explains in a very simple way what they are doing and for whom they are doing this. So we invite the audience to share the questions, or if you want to talk about something related to their issue. But in order to foster a bit this conversation, I will ask my colleagues here in the panel, what challenges do you feel that we have in common? I will start with collaboration. I mean, all the infrastructure, all the efforts that we do in a technical sense doesn't matter if we do not collaborate and we do not value and treasure the people for who we are working for. So I would say that's the first one. Lanika, would you like to?
Sure, can you hear me? Yeah. So I'd say a common challenge among all of us is that we are working with communities that may have not had resources for a very long time, right? So, you know, like you said, collaboration and pretty much anything that we can do to support them would be useful and helpful to them. But we have to be sure that we are listening to their needs and not just giving them what we think they need. So yeah, that's what I think.
Thank you. I totally agree. Mark?
So I would have to go with the multi-dimensions of helping connect the unconnected. So in many ways, it's not just one item. You can't bring in connectivity and not look at other things such as security, but access to tools, etc. And I think that's the common theme that I take from that.
Thank you. Oswaldo?
We are working with isolated populations, and I think the challenge is because it's too expensive for the private companies to invest and to bring a return with this investment. And so, in Brazilian case, we need to the partnership with government, and then we can share, we can use the collaboration with private companies to maintain this infrastructure.
Thank you very much. Another common thing that we have, at least the three of us, it is the geographical situation, which is really conflictive. I mean, the ice in the southern pole, the Andes Mountains, earthquakes every 5 minutes, and you have kind of the same geographical situation in Canada and, of course, in the Amazonian region with the water, the fires everywhere. So we have big challenges in that term. Would someone from the audience like to ask something to our panelists? Very shy this morning, or still sleepy? I can see your faces, people. So I would like to ask you, colleagues, what is the one thing you will take away from this presentations, this session, or for what has been said by our colleagues in the table? Would you like to start? No.
No.
I can start. Mine's going to be really easy. I'm going to watch this documentary that is right here.
Very good. Very well done, Lanika. I would say that my takeaway would be, first of all, the experience of establishing this panel session with my amigas, with Anne Doyle here seated, Alex Bushel from CANARIE, and of course Tania Altamirano from RedCLARA. Sorry, my two hats. That's the first thing. But regarding this panel, it is, again, I'm going to be saying this word again and again. It's collaboration. I mean, we wouldn't be able to connect Patagonia without the collaboration of the regional government, without the support of those institutions that have treasured the importance of connecting not only Chile, the southern part of Chile, to the rest of the world, but to connect the scientific community worldwide. That's very relevant. And in here, collaborating, the actions that have been taken for the colleges and schools here are wonderful. I mean, you really treasure your roots and your cultural heritage. And I mean, I think that is something that every country and the entire humanity should do. And what you're doing in Nunavut, well, I told you it reminds me the views of Punta Arenas, but you're taking care of those isolated regions that needs to be part and deserve to be part of what is being done in the countries, in the entire countries, and to participate in the global scenario. So I don't know if you want to add something, or we just sing and clap, or whatever.
Well, I'll say what I'll take away from, definitely watch the video. That looks very exciting to do. But Lanika's presentation has me thinking about other complementary things that we could be doing in addition to the connectivity. And by this I mean, I wonder if there's funding available or programs that I'm not aware of. And so I will be looking into that. So that's really good to think about. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll have to study.
Our Brazilian challenge is hot. It's a hot place. It's not too cold. I think Patagonia challenge, CANARIE challenges. I think it's hard too, because I don't like too cold weather, and so I just want to leave a message. Visiting Amazon forest. It's a beautiful place to know. And this project, it's I don't know. I love this project. Okay.
Thank you, Oswaldo. And wow, we have 3 in a row. Thank you very much. So please, Adair.
With all the work that you have all done getting these connections out to really remote places, have you done any training of the people who live in those locations so that they can kind of expand possible careers and help support those nodes in the future?
Would you like to?
Yeah, I can respond. So this is one of the benefits of partnering with a college, and it's such a strong part of their desire to provide resources that they don't have, right? There's isolation, so that partnership is, we're relying on it to help the training. But what it raised for me though is, I was thinking about cybersecurity actually. There probably needs to be a lot more training in cybersecurity. One of the things that is arguably great about having very poor internet is that you're very difficult to hack. When you have good internet, it's easier. And so I think there's a lot of work to be done on learning cybersecurity.
I can answer. Thank you, Mark. I can answer for Reuna. They have been consistently doing training sessions for the entire country. I mean, we always say that Santiago, the capital city, is not Chile. Santiago is where we have most of the people living, but we have all the country, and they all deserve the same quality of education and capacity building material. So they are consistently providing online training to throughout the universities, but with their own content as well to all the country.
In Brazil, the real name that is called this project, the national program, is Connected Capacity. And so we think that we need to walk together, connectivity and capacity. No just in IT, but to train teachers to can use this in the classes in the for the students there.
And with MSCC, we offer regionally based training opportunities through our workshops. So we typically invite campuses within a 250 to 300 mile radius to these workshops so that they can build community and discuss common challenges and successes that they've had.
Thank you.
Thank you. My dear friend, class.
Thank you. Well, first to the point on security, I remember 25, maybe 30 years ago when we started connecting student dormitories to fiber infrastructure. It took them a month to become the biggest porn archive in the world. So yes, be careful what you wish for. But my question was a little bit different. I think this is wonderful work what you're doing, and I was curious how much of it is technology push and how much is this user pool, and maybe not even such an interesting question, the answer to that question, but do you see results? Can you share some data points in how this has really transformed these communities?
Yeah, I can. In indigenous communities, it's very important that they join on their terms, and so you can't force it. And so this is again Nunavut Arctic College. The credit goes to them. They are the ones who are gathering requirements from their community, having those discussions, and it's us listening. That's what I would say. And so it's been a collaborative arrangement, but it's very important for that. But we know that that the network is being heavily used.
Okay.
And so this is a boon to those, especially for the school itself.
In Patagonia, the node was created a few months ago. So much information about data I don't have, but I will ask Paola and will happily share with you. But what I know, it was the which was the road for the creation of the Patagonian project, and it was, of course, a very strong desire of Reúna, but that a very strong desire that has many years matched with the desire of the Magellan region governor, who heard the people in the Magellan region and who heard the researchers that were going to his office to say, look, we need this, we need to be connected to the rest of the world. And the infrastructure is not only for astronomers, it is also for earth science, HPC, for different researchers, and we need to connect. And we need not only to connect the Magellan region, but we need to go to the southern pole, where we have many countries and bases, army bases and researchers doing their research, and they have to fly to the continent, go to the center of the country where the connection is the best one in order to share the data. It has no sense. So the wonder of this was listening and hearing the needs and try to tackle those needs with the collaboration of all the possible institutions involved. That was, I don't know if you want to share.
In Brazil, I think when I said 60% of our territory is Amazon region, I think this is an argument to to our government decide to invest there. And the impact that we said is where we leave fiber, optical fiber, decrease the price for all population. So I think all population could be benefit with this kind of project.
Did we answer your question, Klaus?
Very much so, and I am very happy that I think the thing that comes out, it is user demand. And to some extent, it's maybe still nascent, but it's there. The need is there. So it's really great. Thanks.
Thank you. It's very nice to have a question from Eddie Room's dad. Thank you very much. Tom.
As I was listening to you talking, by the way, those that don't know me, I'm Tom Fryer from Géant. As I was listening to you talking, I was thinking we're going from the very, very north all the way down through the US area, through the Amazonia, right down to the tip of Antarctic. And this is more of a comment, really, than a question or a bit of food for thought. That I've been reading Sapiens, History of Humankind recently, and it just made me think that it took about 2,000 years once the ice from Alaska sort of freed up and allowed Homo sapiens to start moving south. It took them about 2,000 years to get down to the tip of Patagonia from the very north. And so you're sort of covering that distance in a much, much shorter space of time and bringing benefits to a much, not just for an R&E, but that will bring benefits more widely. So I just wanted to congratulate you on some of this fantastic work you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's very nice to be able to work in a place where you see that what you're doing makes the difference for the people in the street. And those children playing outside, they will be the scientists of tomorrow, and they will be benefited for what we have been doing during our lives. So it's wonderful. Hello.
Hi there, David Wild from ARNet. I'm afraid my question is way less educated than Tom. At ARNet, we work very much in the South Pacific, Asia-Pacific region, and many South Pacific islands have real difficulties with connectivity because they're islands. One of the things that we've tried to do over the years is to work with cable operators, because often these little islands are subject to monopoly telcos, which jacks up price and reduces bandwidth and so on, and tried to lobby for, when new cables go in, to get a certain portion set aside for research education. Now, I'm not sure that we've had any success. I just wondered whether other bits of the world have tried to do that to any success, and whether that's something that globally we could try to coordinate on, because it feels like a no-brainer, but obviously it requires government support and community support too.
I'm not sure if that I understood your question.
So imagine an island has got a new cable system going in. And that cable system is purely commercial.
Yeah.
We would love for the government of that island to impose on any new cable system that a certain amount of spectrum is set aside for research and education purposes.
Yeah.
We haven't had any success achieving that. I just wondered if anyone else has tried it or succeeded.
Nope, we have not been successful in that. I can answer with my RedCLARA hat now. We are trying to connect the unconnected countries of Central America and of the Caribbean region, and we haven't been successful in that. What we have done is to make a dialogue instances in order to put government, politicians, education sector, along with the cable system sector companies, in order to find a way to achieve our goals by using the future channels they have in mind. And for instance, in the case of Australia, it will be impacted perhaps by the Humboldt cable. And that was a requirement that started from the academic sector and in some point matched the company sector, the entrepreneurial sector, and finally the Chilean government realized the strategic importance of having that. But are we going to have something just for science and education? No, I don't think so. To be totally honest, no. I don't know if you would like to add something.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think we have to finish. My colleague Anne, my friend, is saying, so I don't want her to get too nervous. Thank you very much, everybody. It has been a pleasure to have you all here with us. Thank you.
Thank you.